We have a joke on the staff team about what the most difficult of our new principles is to describe. There's not a competition around it. It's pluralism. Katie jokes often what a challenge it is to talk about pluralism with a 5-year-old. I'm going to try to describe it, but it will take at least 15 minutes. So tell all your 5-year-old selves to settle in. This is the third service in our sermon series about our proposed new Unitarian Universalist principles that are supposed to be updated every 15 years, but haven't been radically amended in 35. In October, we discussed why it's important to explore what we believe in as Unitarian Universalists. In November, we discussed love, which lies in the center of these principles. And here it is, December, the month when many of the world's religions have some kind of holiday around hope, whether it be Hanukkah or solstice or Christmas. And yes, we put this in December because of that. But I think when we talk about pluralism, we are defining it way too narrowly. I think of the discussions that we've been having on our framework project. Recently, many of you participated in some deep dive conversations around our mission statement and the elements of it. How many of you took part in that? Oh, I love seeing all of those hands. That's wonderful. The first bullet point is theologically diverse. And I read through all of the different feedback that you had, and there were many, many conversations about world religions. Out of curiosity, out of knowing that we can draw inspiration from them. But I think when we talk about being theologically diverse, I don't think many of you are actually interested in becoming Jewish if you don't already identify as culturally Jewish, or interested in becoming Islamic or evangelical. But when we think about theological diversity, we often go to the established world religions that have been around for thousands of years, even though many of you have already discarded those religions. So let's look at what pluralism looks like in Unitarian Universalism. This is the language around pluralism from the UUA. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Yum. I'm going to call out a few of those things. We are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. So this is taking our principle of theologically diverse and really expanding it. It's saying that we're not just diverse in our beliefs, but also in our cultures and our experiences. And this is where one of my favorite lines from the current principles exists. In the covenant part, which is the third of each of these principles, there's a covenant or an action. It compels us into an action. It says that we learn from each other, not from one sacred text or from a very wise minister standing at a pulpit, but we learn from each other in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I have always loved the interplay between free and responsible. Yes, we are free to explore our own meaning, but we do it responsibly. It's not just willy-nilly. It's not always just here's what you have to do. It is both free and responsible. And I love that they've added that we do it with each other in love, curiosity, and respect. Not judgment and surety and condemnation, but curiosity, love, and respect. Can you imagine if we approached everyone we met with love and curiosity and respect. So yes, we are diverse in our theologies, but the place where I find UUs want to talk about their theological diversity is how we were raised. We love to talk about our religious histories. We love to talk about how we were raised, what our early experiences with religions were, what we agreed with, and we love to talk about what we disagreed with. It's the biggest part of topic of discussion in our new member series. For some, there are memories of the UU congregation where they were raised and how that shaped them, and even some things they disagreed with there. For others, there was a critical moment where we left what we had known and searched for a different path. For some, there was religious trauma associated with these old beliefs. As it is with many things, our favorite stories are not about the destination of where we ended up, but about the journey that we took to get there. So I believe that pluralism includes not just what we believe now, but our unique histories, decisions, moral clarity, and courage to go on that journey. But here's the crux. The whole basis of pluralism is accepting that we are not the same. It is a core tenet of our faith that we are different from each other. Our beliefs, our journeys, our identities, we go in with the idea that we're all in a slightly different place. And then we open up ourselves and our hearts with love and curiosity and respect to grow from each other. I want you to think about how radical that is. Like most religions, the core tenet of their belief is that they are the same as each other. It is reinforced with a recitation of a creed or a statement of belief, and there is an understanding that we walk in and we all believe the same thing. And that creed or statement of belief, well, I believe that's the piece that makes sure in the service that that part hasn't changed. We know what we believe and we recite it to make sure that we are all still on the same page. It is not surprising then that many other aspects of some of these religions are also expected to be the same. Their sexual orientation, their gender identity, their political beliefs, their class, the way they define families, and standard of living. Do you see what I'm getting at here? If pluralism is a key component of our faith, we look at each other and then we look at the world and expect differences, and we expect to grow from those differences. And this pluralism is truly our ideal of how the world should operate. UU minister Reverend Dr. Fred Muir helps us differentiate between pluralism and diversity. The United States lives with diversity, as do England, Russia, Iraq, Syria, Chile, and many other countries. Diversity simply means differences. It's a fact that wherever you find people, there will be diversity. Pluralism implies diversity, but pluralism doesn't just happen. It requires hard work through engagement, and we have to be intentional to create pluralism. It is an achievement. Eboo Patel says, pluralism is an achievement characterized by three elements: respect for different identities, positive relationship between diverse communities, and a commitment to the common good. End quote. So then, being who I am, I want to push us a little bit further in this direction. My colleague, Reverend Rebecca Savage, says that it is inherent with Unitarian Universalism that we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If we assume that we don't all believe the same, that we come from different identities and experiences, that means that we will regularly hear things that will make us feel uncomfortable. Reverend Savage recounts a story. In our congregations and worship services, we may hear sermons, prayers, and discussions that touch tender places in our spirits because of our own experiences. A congregant at a large Unitarian Universalist congregation once came to me after worship to tell me that she was upset because I chose to use too much God language in my sermon. That's never happened here, right? Another congregant once told me that I used too many illustrations that focused on women. Another congregant told me that I used too few about women. Sitting with this idea of pluralism as a reality and a promise means for me examining and reflecting on where our discomfort comes from. For some Unitarian Universalists, there are pains and hurts from the faith tradition of their childhood. For others, it is the systemic injustices perpetuated in the name of religion and the traditional patriarchal and hegemonic reinforcement of oppressive gender roles and dictates around sexual orientation. For others, it is the complexity of a multicultural and ethnic society and the generations of prejudice and violence associated with oppression. By reflecting on our individual paths on our earth thus far, we parse out those complex areas of where others' freedom of expression and our discomfort meet. End quote. So, there you go. The award for the most complex of the principles, pluralism. But remember, it is far more than understanding other world religions. It is our world view, nothing short of that. Our worldview that we are all diverse and that we can learn from each other in love, curiosity, and respect. It is the idea that we are ever changing in our beliefs, that we are curious, and sometimes we are uncomfortable. It is a way of seeing the world for its beautiful diversity, and it is no one's path being more or less meaningful than our own. It is our radical way of seeing each other and honoring the miracles of our hearts, our minds, and our souls. So might it be with you.